Hey everybody, welcome back to Moscow and welcome back to your Moscow updates. And it's a very, very interesting time to be here in Russia, particularly in Moscow, as this 10-day deadline has been issued by Donald Trump. Now, I've posted a lot about it, but let's have a chat about it. I'm actually in an incredible place. Let's have a look. I posted about this place before. This is the Bauman Technical University. Now, this place was built, I think, in the course of 3 years, essentially. Absolutely incredible building. You can see the old Soviet building here, and this is what they built to replace it. It's almost like, it's more like a piece of art than a piece of architecture. So let's have a chat about what's going on and what the perception here in Russia is about this deadline that's been given by Donald Trump. Now, first thing is, the Russians believe that Donald Trump has given lots of deadlines, hasn't he? 24 hours to end the war, 50 days, now it's 10 days. There seems to be a little bit of a disconnect. And of course, the Russian way, the Russian attitude to these things is far more reserved. It's far quieter. Still waters run deep kind of thing. The Russians, the Kremlin, not far from here, the people in charge, I imagine, are going to watch and wait and see what Mr. Trump decides to actually do, rather than what he decides to say, which, as we know, can change like the wind. And that's not an absolute criticism of Mr. Trump. It's a statement of reality, right? That's the case. He's said a lot of things and he's done a lot of things. Now, pragmatism is a good thing, isn't it? Being able to change your mind and move and be flexible. And that's one of the attractions and talents of Mr. Trump, maybe. But is he running out of road here regarding the goodwill that greeted him when he became president? I'd say yes. I'd say, you know, political scientists and serious people here who like to get into the nuts and bolts of policy and foreign affairs are now starting to see Mr. Trump as very much, if not now, but heading towards a Biden 2.0 position. Maybe that's a bit harsh. But he's now supplying weapons again to Ukraine. He now seems to be very, very indistinguishable from a Democrat when it comes to the war, which he claims was Joe Biden's war, which is now very much his war, sadly. Celebrating, spending billions basically on weapons, so he's going to sell to the Europeans, although the Europeans say that they're probably not going to buy any of them or any of the energy that he proclaimed to give great plaudits when he met the EU in Scotland. So how is it greeted here? It's greeted here like almost everything else. It's greeted in a very quiet, reserved way. The statements are that, you know, we're going to keep doing what we're going to do. The Russian position hasn't changed since February 2022, when they said they were going to go into Ukraine. They made it very clear why they were going in. They made it very clear what they were going to do when they got there. There's been several attempts at peace, very sincere attempts at peace. And there's a sense of once bitten, twice shy, and no deal is better than a bad deal. Does Russia have issues? It has the same issues any country that's been at war for 3 years has. Is war good for an economy? Of course it's not. But this war is a very strange thing in that it's being fought in a very compartmentalized, siloed way. You would not know the war was going on here in Moscow. You just would not know. In the regions, you'd know just as less about it. I've been all over Russia. So it's very much a war that could become very serious for Russia if they decided to. They're probably fighting this war with about 10% of the resources they could fight it with, in real terms, in manpower. If Russia was to mobilize its population into this war, as in into the military, there could be several million troops in the army fighting in Ukraine and elsewhere. They don't. There's no compulsory mobilization here. There's no one getting dragged from the street. Russia's army is a volunteer army. It's a volunteer army. That's the fact. Are a million Russians dead? Absolutely, categorically not. Are there a million Ukrainians dead? Absolutely, probably more at this stage. We've seen that in the disparity between the body counts, the exchange of the dead, and this basic quality of the Ukrainian army, which is now a conscripted, forced labor army. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have deserted from the Ukrainian army. And that's the Ukrainians telling us that. It's probably many, many more. Hundreds of thousands are missing, including thousands of Marines that were sent to Krinky on the Russian bank of the Dnieper, and we were told this was a great success. Kursk, it's all been lies. Because Russia hasn't revealed its exact casualty numbers, even Mediazona, the very pro-Western BBC collaboration project, say that there's probably a maximum of 160,000 Russians sadly been killed. They don't even have proof of that. They probably have proof of just over 100,000. So the reality is the Ukro fantasy is living on only in the think tanks, and it's a think tank fantasy. In Russia here, they take this stuff very seriously. They don't want their kids to have to fight this war again. And that, I think, is the guiding principle now in the Russian political world. People much smarter than me have probably put it better. But I think there's a sense that this war could go on and has to go on until it ends on Russia's terms. And those terms are essentially making sure that Russian kids, the next generation, don't have to fight this war again. So that's the reality here. Mr. Trump's 10-day proclamation that he's going to tell Mr. Putin to end the war, it's just absolutely insanity. People kind of laugh at it here. The other thing, of course, is BRICS. BRICS was becoming a little bit of a toothless organization, a little bit of a talking shop, right? Until very recently. It was in the wake of détente between America and Russia, which we initially thought was going to happen. We had good meetings. We had Mr. Witkoff. In the wake of that, in the absence of it, BRICS might have looked a little bit less important. But now, with President Trump basically economically attacking and weaponizing the dollar very overtly against BRICS countries, he looks set to revitalize this whole idea that I told you so. The Americans are out to control you through the dollar. They're out to dominate your economy geostrategically through the dollar. Something I've been saying for years, which has now been openly said and confirmed by President Trump. So, very interesting times. Very interesting times. What does Ukraine do next? The corruption scandal. As if it's a scandal. I've been talking about this for 3 years. Since 2015 I've been talking about it. 3 years during this phase of the conflict. Everybody now knows what Zelensky is. Even his most ardent supporters like Goncharenko, the little Nazi boot boy standing up in the ex-parliament, the Rada, which was unelected along with Mr. Zelensky, to state that he has to go, that his time is up. So we live in very interesting times. Is Russia and China going to betray each other and fall at the feet of the US president? Really? You think that's going to happen? You think India is going to buckle Brazil, Russia and China? You think that's going to happen? I can't see it happening at all. I see the relationships going stronger, and the potential is now that the United States would be potentially isolated more. And it gives real rationale to the whole idea of BRICS. This is a real I told you so moment for people who have backed BRICS and have suggested that the rest of the world must organize itself for a situation whereby the US aggressively weaponizes the dollar. And that's what's happening. It's happening in front of our eyes. So really interesting days ahead. So from Moscow for now, looking forward to updating you again soon. Thanks for all the support. Thanks to all my subscribers, by the way. And I'm going to be putting more and more videos up on YouTube now, and maybe a little show, who knows. Let's see, let me know what you think. But until then, look after yourselves and talk to you all soon.